Hey, what is up everybody, Blades for here, and today I for you guys another video, Persona 5X. Inside today's video guys, we're going to be going ahead and doing our monthly tier list review here, and this is mainly going to be adding slash moving around some characters. Now for this one specifically, there's not many characters that are going to be moving around or many that we're going to be adding, seeing that the only character that is out now is Yukari, so we're mainly going to be ranking her as well as just doing some small moving around. So if you guys do like this video, be sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Really does help me out quite a lot here. And as per normal, we're gonna go ahead and try to start off with the moving. Now, just to make sure we have a little bit of a clarification of how I do things here, this is going to be based on their usability currently, whether it's either inside of the meta or just inside of the events at hand. Now when it comes down to this, I'm taking into account SOS, I'm taking into account guild boss, I am taking into account even some events that you usually would prefer using some other teams over the regular team that these characters are in. Now, the reason I have to clarify this is just because some people don't understand if the character now that they're moving down are not good anymore, or if they're just now terrible, they're just bad. No, that's not the case. It's just the timing of how things are going based on how like regularly they're going to be in the upcoming like patches, or regularly they are in the patches at hand. That's how I usually would judge these off, and as well of their usability. So even if you take a character such as like Yui, who's at the bottom in front of A here, she's only here because there's not much content that she's going to be useful in. She is a good character, though she's missing the team. She's missing a lot of things that are very viable for her, therefore she is an A rank character. Or if we take for example characters such as Fox, he is a really good character, has a ton of potential, and a lot of people would agree on this. The only issue is there's no place for defense attackers, especially for defender based attackers. There's rarely places for ice related characters, which he does utilize, who are also helping out his defense capabilities, being like the ice form of Winmont, or either the just Cherish himself being an ice defender. You don't really see too much. So that's how I usually rank these. Don't take it personally if I do take down some of your favorite characters. In fact, this video is going to hurt me a little bit because there's going to be a character I'm going to have to take down that I per se have been avoiding trying to take down. But now if we went over this and got the disclaimer out of the way here, we're going to at least start off with the moving. Now, as I did say, this is going to be based on anything that's been happening recently. It's going to be how the character does perform, whether it's been like really good, have they been getting used a decent bit, have they been at least guild boss, and things of this nature. And the first character that I have to say has to move down is Summer Closer. Now this hurt me a little bit because of course, as you guys do know, this was one of the first characters I decided to A6 R6, and she was a very good character. She still is a very good character to this day. The only issue for her is there isn't many content that we need a blessed AoE DPS for. Unlike at least how we have Kazumi, who's is a just single target DPS, she already does the damage. Both of course Closer does damage as well, but the issue with her is we don't have much content that's needed for her. For example, if we look at any of the guild boss material for this character, there are usually other characters or teams that are more viable for her, or at least for her specific guild boss, more than she is for her own one. For example, at certain times this, instead of using her for her guild boss, you can very well use Mesa's team for guild boss, and so on and so forth. We have at least certain teams that are just going to do way better than her. Going into the Sea of Souls things, aka the ranking guild mode, or at least the ranking mode itself, she hasn't been seen there for quite some time either. Anything that revolves around at least an AoE blitz DPS has not really been talked about with her. She has not had a chance to really shine, and majority of at least her side people, or at least her side people inside of her team, whether it's her teammates such as like Marion, you're not really utilizing more. So her team is a little bit outdated. She of course will get buffed as many as other characters have in the past, and she's actually one of the few that did get a buff recently as well. So when it comes to damage wise, she's not really too bad, though her team and everything of that nature has dipped and has made her a little bit less usable. So unfortunately, she had to be moved down to the S tier. And then the next character, which this one supremely hurt me, before I moved this one down, I asked a bunch of people to go ahead and confirm with me whether this is a true factor, and they also agree with this as well. So unfortunately, the girl Cord is moving down a whole rank, and this kind of hurt me. because I don't at least, what is it called? I don't at least organize them in how busted they are. So left to right, they're busted that way. I don't do any of that. I just really order them in tiers. And Cord, unfortunately, is finally moving down to the S tier area. Now, let me give you at least a reason why I'm putting this way. As an owner of a A6 R6 Cord as well, she is one of the few characters that I really did not want to put down. In fact, she universally goes into a ton of teams that made it even harder to bring her out of this tier. But the reason why, of course, I took her out of this tier is due to how many characters are now not using her. We have not really seen her all too much, or at least heavily influencing SOS anymore. She's been in Guild Boss every now and again, of course, but there are other options that you can use in teams. In fact, now we have characters that just don't utilize her at all. Like, for example, Makoto, you don't need him in there because, of course, you have Yukari. Heck, and even in that standpoint, you technically don't need Yukari because you have Turbo. So like, there's other at least supports and things that now when it comes to Cord, you don't really need to spam her ult too much. It's going to be more times or less that you're going to need a different supporter who can more or less help you out overall in the entire battle, rather than just helping you out with pure on damage, right? Because what I'm ranking these guys off of is pretty much their A0s in general, or just the character in general of how they're used. If I wanted to make this as a A6 R6 tier list, she of course would be higher, but everyone does not own an A6 R6. So of course you have to take them at their benchmark area. And unfortunately for Cord, it is about time that she's starting to move down. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video here, this does not make her bad. She's not bad by any means. She's still absolutely amazing. The character can buff her teammates. She can force up those highlights. She can actually buff thirds to an extent as well, which is really, really nice. And she just in general was a nice character to have. Just with the more common, at least newer teams here, you don't see her in there. Like if Matoy and Howler are there, you just don't get her in there. Matoy's in there, usually she's not in that team. It's going to be a different buffer in that team. If there is Howler in here, usually Ford's not going to be in that team because you're going to use a buffer who's going to help out that main DPS. An example of this is usually you would have Vast, debuffer, and then Makoto, right? Or Vast, another different debuffer, and their DPS. It's never going to be Cord anymore who's here, because more or less now we're not focusing on that highlight variable. We're now starting to just focus more on that damage that you really do need to have and actually see Cord. So unfortunately, she's going to be going down here, which does suck, but that's going to at least be all the movements down. Don't be sad. She probably is going to come back up, knowing her. If anything, she might get a buff in the future, who knows? Or if anything, what is it called? We're going to have more characters in the future, which I'm crossing my fingers because I really do love using Cord. We're going to have a character in the future that will actually bring her back. So don't worry, you guys. She's going to be coming back eventually. Look forward to it. But now that we've went over at least all of the movements, this is pretty much all we need to do for our movements rise here. Let me know if you at least agree or disagree with this inside of the comment section. But now we're going to move up to at least Yukari. Now, Yukari, as I did say, is one of the few characters who can also charge different skills, being third G. Instead of doing the charge like Cord with highlights, she actually charges with third G. Now, the thing about Yukari is, when she doesn't need her 5-star weapon, she's absolutely amazing. Without it, she can actually be very valuable, but she's kind of tied down to Seeds related teams, which is the little bit of the sad part with it, right? Her heals are pretty darn good. They're really nice. She has a really nice gimmick with her charging third G abilities, but even when we take a look at least utilizing Makoto here, she isn't necessarily needed for Makoto. Makoto himself actually does really, really well with just utilizing Turbo and utilizing Vast, rather than utilizing, I guess you could say, Yukari and utilizing like Vast or something of that nature. You don't really need to have her inside the team. She's more of an optional character at this point. And when it comes down to at least the current teams in the game, being that's the only one, that's the only time where she's useful. So, I mean, if you do have those moments where you genuinely do need to, what's it called? Where you genuinely need a team that you need the third G increasing, then Yukari is very viable. She's very helpful. She's very needed. Though, if she isn't needed, she's kind of a little bit lower on, at least lower on the tier spectrum. So she drifts between that S+ and that S- area. So I thought the only place that would be good for this character is actually going to be at the top of S as well, with Cord here. Just having them two pretty much side by side doesn't really matter here. And that's mainly because they both practically do the same thing. The difference is Cord does things for just the cast before, of course, P3R, which is making her very viable, while at least Yukari herself, although she's able to go into multitude of teams because she's a healer, her main strong point is 3G. So I mean, like, if there's not too many 3G related characters, she's not going to be at least all too useful, making her more in that middle category, just like Cord. Very good character, very high potential, just currently a little shifting around, and with the current buff, of course, you're going to be using her a lot, but when that buff is gone, you're going to kind of be shifty with how she goes. So I thought the S tier would be the best place, at least for her. In other moments where she is actually needed, and she's S plus. In moments that she's not needed, she's S minus. So S, I think, is definitely the best place to actually put her. But all in all, guys, let me know how y'all feel about this tier list down below in the comment section here. I'm very curious to see exactly what you guys feel on this here. If there's characters that you believe should be moving down, let me know exactly why, because I will have immediately the reasoning to why they have not moved down, with some thorough actual evidence as well. So truly do keep that in mind. But all right, thank y'all for watching. You have a wonderful day. Peace.